I'm Old Sneelock. Welcome to another episode of Old Sneelock's Workshop. The grinder is assembled and it actually works very well. Little rumble in the bearings, but I'm not going to fuss with it right now. Before I can hook it up to run water to it though, and cool the wheels while I'm grinding, I need to clean these up a bit. I'm not going to paint them because, well, for one thing, I don't want to paint downstairs. Once again, Thanksgiving. But I do want to clean them up so that I don't have all this loose stuff sitting on them. So it's just going to be basically scraping. During this relaxing interlude while you're listening to Angel share, why not take a second and hit the thumbs up button? You know I really appreciate it. Thanks. Set them back on the floor over here and start taking off the grinding wheels. I'm gaining on subscriptions, and that's great, but we're not gaining very fast. Notice that we're still a lot of people that aren't signed up. You're watching every day, but you're not signed up. So why don't you just take a second and click that subscription button, and don't forget to ring the bell. That'll let you know when the next video is coming. Now, I would have expected this thing would be held together with stainless bolts, but quite obviously it isn't. Oh, and I should have recognized something. Even though this bolts right up, it is a quarter turn out of position. Would have recognized that sooner or later. So taking the bolts out and spinning the end bells is probably a requirement. Okay, we're going to have to turn the bell housings on this motor. So first thing I got to do is loosen those bolts up. housing goes on this end. That means I have to turn this until this lines up correctly. That's not right. That would work, but it would work backwards. You know, I might just have to drill new holes in this thing. Because in order to get this lined up with this has to be sitting like that, but then those holes don't line up. If I take it around that far, that hole lines up, but these don't. Is it any wonder that this thing got tossed out? Because it lines up this way. Lines up just like that. Which means this motor housing would have to turn 180 degrees. So this will not fit. This is set up to run with those wheels running backwards, and I cannot imagine anybody setting it up like that. In any case, I'm not going to. I'm going to mark this out, and I'm going to drill new holes in those aluminum housings and bolt them up in the direction that I want them to run. Because this is my grinder. And that's what's going to happen. Now let's look at this one over here. See what the situation is. If it ain't one thing, it's three others. Now, oddly enough, this one lines right up. Okay, we got a couple of things that I got to check out here. There's something definitely fishy about this whole operation. I cannot believe it is like this on purpose. But you got to go with facts, and facts say this thing is going together this direction. That's 90 degrees out. But if I rotate this 90 degrees this way, the wires aren't long enough. Let's do something unusual. If I flip this switch 180, that will let me rotate the housing 180. This little nylon one operates exactly the same as this longer aluminum one. It's just a little easier to handle. There, that fits. And that's going to let me rotate it 90 degrees the other direction. We'll see if this is going to work. Hook that up there. Tie this onto that. Just got to get that little plastic piece in the right spot. Get the screw started. Now line this all up. Getting that plastic piece is kind of a pain, but we'll make it work. Just rotate this. There's a pin and a notch. You rotate the outer housing until that pin falls down into the notch. Then when you push, you insert the screwdriver tip into the screw head and push. That pops that out of the notch and lets it rotate around and takes that little spur in there and lines it up. And when you push it in, it puts it out about 70 degrees and causes it to bind in the screw driver slot. It only works with slotted screws, but works really good with slotted screws. There's that on. Okay, so got the spring washer in the hole there. Well, that lets me turn it. Let's look and see if we line up. Well, there. Maybe it wasn't a mistake on their part. Maybe it was a mistake on my part. I could have put that switch in backwards because I did take it out once. And if I put it back in backwards, there's no markings, no lineup on the thing. I didn't look to see if these three had an orientation in relationship to these four. So the four go out 90 degrees. These go out, let's see, 120 degrees. So if you don't get them exactly where they belong, it messes things up severely. Well, I'm glad it was something that simple. Always like to find a reason for things going wrong. Just to make sure. Yes, that's going to work. Phew! Thought for a minute there I was going to have to do some machining on these end housings here. Keep it simple. Always look for the simplest reason first. Takes me a while to get around to that train of thought again. I don't do this enough anymore. Okay.
This video is not to be viewed by anyone under the age of 13 in the U.S. or 16 in the European Union, without the express written permission of the parents or legal guardians of the underage person. Such written permission must be on file at the local government entity in charge of enforcing the rules and regulations established by the FTC. Anyone violating these terms is admitting by default that they hold harmless the owners and operators of this channel. Any and all questions should be addressed to your local branch of the FTC.